Given that f of x is equal to 7 plus x all over 2, and g of x is equal to 5 over x, calculate the value of g of 1.25. Now we know that g of x is equal to 5 over x, but we need to figure out what is g of 1.25. Now what that means is that wherever we see x, we're gonna put 1.25, so we have x is here. So we put 1.25 here, and we have x is here. So you put 1.25 here. So g of 1.25 is equal to 5 over 1.25. And so we must divide these two, and when we divide them, we get 5 divided by 1.25, and that gives us 4. So g of 1.25 is equal to 4, and that's the answer to this question. Next, we have to figure out or to calculate x, where f of x is equal to -10. And so f of x is equal to -10. But what is f of x? Well, f of x is equal to 7 plus x all over 2. So f of x is equal to 7 plus x all over 2. And then we take -10 when we put it over 1. And so we are able to cross multiply. We have 1 times 7 plus x. And 1 times 7 plus x is simply 7 plus x. Then we have 2 times -10. And 2 times -10 is simply -20. And so we have 7 plus x is equal to -20. Next, what we do is we take the 7 and we send it over the equal sign. And so when we take the 7 and send it over the equal sign, we have that x is equal to -20 minus 7. And -20 minus 7 is equal to -27. So x is equal to -27. Next, we have to write a simplified expression for g of f of x. Notice here that we have two functions. This is actually a composite function. So we have a function within a function. So we have the baby function, which is f of x, and the parent function, which is g. So we have to put f of x inside of the function g, okay? Now, what is f of x? Well, f of x is equal to 7 plus x all over 2. And what is g of x? Well, g of x is equal to 5 over x. So notice here we have g of x, and wherever we see x, we're gonna put f of x. So x is here, so we put f of x. Similarly, we have 5 over x, but not 5 over x anymore. It's gonna be 5 over f of x, because wherever we see x, we put f of x, we put f of x here, we put f of x here, all right? But what is f of x? Well, this is 5 over f of x, but what is f of x? Well, f of x is equal to 7 plus x all over 2. And so we put this fraction here, 7 plus x all over 2. And so what we have to do here is we have to divide. So we have 5 over 1 divided by this fraction, 7 plus x all over 2. And so we have to use, because we have two fractions, right? We have to use this acronym, which is KSF, right? KSF. And so KSF stands for keep, switch, and flip. So we're gonna keep this fraction, right? This fraction we're gonna keep. We're not gonna change it, right? Then we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch this division sign. We're gonna switch it into a multiplication sign, all right? And then we're gonna flip. So we're gonna take this numerator, put it at the bottom, and take the denominator and put it on top. So we keep, switch, and flip. Again, what keep, switch, and flip means we keep 5 over 1, keep 5 over 1. We switch the division sign into a multiplication sign, and we flip. We put the numerator at the bottom, which is 7 plus x, and we put the denominator at the top, which is 2. And so we have 5 times 2. What is 5 times 2? 5 times 2 is 10. We have 1 times 7 plus x. Again, we have 1 times 7 plus x. And 7 plus 1 times 7 plus x is simply 7 plus x. And so what we have is 10 over 7 plus x. And so that's a simplified expression for g of f of x. That's going to be 10 over 7 plus x. Next, we have to figure out what is the inverse of G inverse of X. And so our goal is to figure what is the inverse of G. And what's the inverse of G? The inverse of G is G inverse of X. And so we have G of X is equal to 5 over X. I'm sorry, we have G of X is equal to 5 over X. But remember, our goal is to find G inverse of X. So what is our goal there? Our goal is to find the inverse of G, which is G inverse of X. But we have here, G of X is equal to 5 over X. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set G of X equal to Y. And so we have Y is equal to 5 over X. That's the first thing we do. We set G of X equal to Y. So we have Y is equal to 5 over X. Next, we swap X and Y. So we swap them. And so what else do we do? Well, we put X over 1. So if X over 1 is equal to 5 over Y, we multiply Y times X, and we multiply 1 times 5. And so X times Y, or Y times X, is equal to XY, and 1 times 5 is simply 5. Next, we divide both sides of this equation by X. And so this cancels with that, so we get that Y is equal to 5 over X. But what is Y? Y is equal to G inverse of X. And so that means that G inverse of X is equal to 5 over X. Again, G inverse of X is equal to 5 over X. And that's the answer to this question.